Hello and welcome to another episode of Company of Heroes History, and this is the first episode to take place on patch 1.3. I think you'll note that there's quite a few things that have changed in the UI, and there's even more things that have changed in the game. The first thing I have to say is that they kind of broke the replay system. They introduced this nice cinematic mode and things, which, oh, I say nice, that doesn't exactly work too well, which I think just cycles through units and does kind of weird close-up cinematic angles. And they also introduced the ability to remove the taskbar, so we can get a little bit better view of the field from time to time, which is nice. And lo and behold, there is a fast-forward button, which I won't be using too much today, but it's very handy when you're watching lots of replays. But the big issue is that I can only watch one perspective at a time. So now I'm looking at the perspective of Duwanii, who has opened with a HMG and a weapon support center start, which was relatively rare in the early versions of the game, but perhaps a little more common on Semois because of all the houses and things like that. And in the other side of the map, we have Ahenian again. Now I have looked at one replay from Ahenian before, but really he was the absolute in the top 2 or 3 players of the game at this when it first came out. This from I think early November 2006, and he really was up there with players like Aniketos, Mexico, Cepha, Nystrom, and they were kind of leading the meta at this time. So the reason I've chosen this game particularly to show you the first one as the first one from patch 1.3 is because the big change in patch 1.3 was done with regards to sniper battles. Oh, that's interesting. So now I can actually see the units, what unit is in a building, and its health. That was not present in patch 1.2. That's very helpful for casting, my word. Yeah, so as I was saying, the big change, there's a few changes to balance, particularly nerfing tier 3 for the Axis. That was a big thing. But even more important was the fact that, if we switch over to Duwanii's side, and we'll just check if he's making a sniper, a change was made that snipers would no longer kill each other in one hit. So if one sniper shot another sniper, if it was at full health, it wouldn't go down. We'll see this later in this replay, I hope, because weapon support's at the start. I would assume there's going to be some snipers coming out. And that, I mean, I'm sure anyone who plays the game now and knows how powerful snipers are, that is an enormous change. Really, really important change. So I think it's interesting. Hopefully we'll get a chance to see how that played out. And perhaps we'll get a sense of why it was immediately nerfed in the very next patch. The other thing we might get to see in this replay, I'm not sure, is one of the number of bugs that was introduced in this patch as well. This was kind of a low point, I think, in Relic's patching career, as I described it in a previous video. They really introduced a lot of bugs, some of which are pretty game-breaking, and yeah, it didn't go down well in the community. Kind of saw it into competitive play while it was out there because of the number of bugs that were in there that you wouldn't really call exploits necessarily. People took advantage of. Now we do see the sniper come out from Duwanii, so I'm hoping we'll get to see some sniper on sniper action. Now that we know that's out in the field, I'm going to switch over quickly to Ahenian to see what's going on over there and see if he has anything on the field. Now, Ahenian knows that this house is populated by an HMG from the Allies' side, so he's decided to pop his heavy machine gun here to kind of lock down this area. This is already wired off, so he knows that he's relatively safe up there. By holding this, he's keeping his fuel safe, although he does choose to move out there. Well, it's interesting to see if he has decided to go for a sniper, because... Yep, here we go. So the sniper's out on the field. This was the common response to seeing a weapon support center by the Wehrmacht, is that you would typically try and get a sniper out as soon as possible. I mean, first of all, you know you're going to see one from the opposition, or you know you're likely to see one from the opposition. But secondly, it's really your only counter in tier 1 to machine guns. Fox Grenadiers aren't quite the flanking force that riflemen are, and they don't have access in particular to those nice upgrades like grenades and things like that. So you're kind of relying on pioneers, which are a bit squishier than engineers. Oh, here we go, sniper battle here, going down. Interesting, does he decide to pack up the HMG or just leave it there as a little bit of bait, just try and get the other sniper? There it is, here comes the shot. And there you have it. Just less than half health remaining on that sniper. HMG runs away, Sniper 2, it seems he's going to move away. There's another engagement going on here as some engineers try to move, some pioneers, sorry, try to move into the middle. Now, interesting to see what does Duwanii now decide to do. He knows that Ahenian has a sniper out of his own. He knows that now his sniper will go down in one hit. So he has to be very, very careful indeed. Looks like this is going to be a bit of a passive game. In the meantime, we have tier 2 from the Axis. Ahenian's gone for tier 2, which was rare, but... Oh, and a Jeep coming out now to help snap down that sniper. He now knows where it is. MG42 could open... the HMG could open fire on it. Oh, the Jeep comes back to track it down. Forced to retreat. Oh, that sniper is never going to get out of there. Absolutely not. Now, that is a big, big win for Duwanii. Now, how differently would that have gone in any other build of the game? You know, if he gets that first snipe off, even if he loses the sniper of his own, you know, it's not the end of the world. It's a fair trade. And he's stopping that manpower drain that the snipers are capable of administering. So the fact that even though he got the counter snipe, he played it well. Tactically, he got the better of Duwanii there, but it's just not quite enough. Now he's gone for the medic bunker. Yeah, this was actually a relatively rare move. This is probably one of the first times I saw this in a high-level game. Medic bunker today, of course, is pretty much ubiquitous. You'd see it in most games, particularly where the Axis decide to go for tier 2. Getting a few more Grenadier squads on the field throughout the course of the game can really make all the difference. But this was rare. This was one of the first games I remember seeing this in. Ahenian, as always, an innovator in that sense. Now he's gone for the defensive company as well, defensive doctrine as well, which is another thing that's relatively. He's gone for the bike as his choice to try and take out the sniper of Duwanii. Oh, now we see rifle on the field, so he looks like he's back-teched from the back-teched, I say side-teched, I suppose, from the weapons support center. He's side-teched over to the barracks to get a couple of rifleman squads out. Very interesting. I mean, I think a more typical way of side-teching was to go barracks first, and then after 2 or more frequently 3 riflemen, you would then get your weapons support center up and kind of tech into those units and use those to support the bulk of your rifleman squads. Oh, trying to get a mine down here. That is very cheeky indeed. Looks like he is going to get caught doing it. May not finish it in time. Looks like he's going to try and go for the finish, but the mine... How very odd. How that works. Maybe it's a case that if you see it getting laid in these early builds of the game, that they would be revealed and wouldn't get shot. Oh, that's interesting indeed. The retreating unit does get sniped as well. Goes down completely. Big squad wipe there. Oh, more sniping going on here. Medics going down in the middle. The sniper's clearly going to cause some havoc. There's no real counter to on the field. This motorcycle is here, but under the cover of the MG42 in this building. It could be really difficult. So let's just switch over quickly now to Duwanii and see what's going on the other side of the map. He has gone, yep, side tech to the rifleman, trying to get a couple of rifleman squads out, it looks like. And he's getting his supply up as well. Going to reduce that, reduce the manpower drain, the drain on his Inca rate because of the upkeep of his rifleman he's getting on the field. Oh, now we see Ahenian trying to push down and harass these supposedly relatively safe. Oh, look at that! And he even closes the wire behind him. I mean, he's going to be stuck in this engagement now, so we better do it well. Little does he know about these mines here. Now, one of the issues that we have with, I'm not sure we'll see it in this game, but one of the things that was broken by patch 1.3 was barbed wire. What? Ooh, building there in front of that. I mean, this mine is here. He could be trying to kind of entice him in. He is in heavy cover. Ooh, but I would get out of there if I was you. Boom. Mine goes in now. Get back in there and finish him off. Perhaps, although with the motorbike there, could be difficult. Okay, so yeah, one of the issues was that light vehicles, very light vehicles. Ooh, that was also another mine going off there. The very light vehicles, such as the Jeep, could be used to break Axis wire. They would go through the wire like nothing. On the other hand, Axis light vehicles such as the Puma or the half-track became unable to get through barbed wire and even sandbags. It was a real nightmare scenario for the Axis again, or several bugs came into play, and all of them to the detriment of the Axis. Now we see this mortar here. It's gone from the tier 2 building, from the Krieg barracks. Is going to do a great job at clearing this off. The sniper, being low health, isn't able to confidently push in. and try and take it down, particularly when there's the motorbike there as well, knocking around somewhere. Knocking around next to this medic bunker. Tricky engagement here. He's decided to leave the sniper in there, though he did retreat his HMG from that building. Now he's decided to put the rifleman in this building. This is a bit of an awkward situation because this is a big blind spot on this side. That's one of the reasons this is such a good place to put the bunker. If you get overrun for a short time and there's a flamer engineer squad, the flamer can't just sit in a building and flame the bunker from that side. So that's why one of the reasons that's a really good spot. It's also a good spot because if the allies were to get out a mortar and try and bombard it, a lot of those shots would hit this building here, and it kind of slows down the rate at which the bunker itself is damaged. Wow, that medic is going a long way. I'm not sure exactly what was going on there. That seems like another bug to me. Is there two medics over there? But we'll switch to the side in a second and see what's going on. Rifleman coming over and pushing the motorcycle. Doing a lot of damage. They're very low health though. Hopefully, it seems like, yeah, he decides to disengage there. He knows he needs to keep that motorbike on the field to keep that sniper honest. Mortar's doing really nice work here. Doing a lot of damage again. Look at these medics running the long way around. I'm not sure at all what's going on there. But they are certainly earning their keep. God, if they manage to find someone and take them back, then maybe there was something to do with this mine going off earlier. They're going to run straight past these riflemen. I'm pretty sure they don't reveal them, because I think, like today, they don't actually have line of sight, so to speak. This mortar's still doing great work, doing a lot of damage to this HMG in the house now. Doesn't get the kill. Nice bit of work there by Duwanii to retreat away. He's also tried to push up to a little bit of damage. Oh, I'm trying to harass that fuel point, but the Jeep is really struggling now. That is in a lot of trouble, but does manage to get away, and will be healed up pretty quickly, given what looks like pretty terminal damage there to the front of that engine. It's amazing they can get healed up quite so quickly, but yep, indeed they do. That is the case. Any more teching here from the others? Yep, we do see a Sherman coming out now. Hopefully we might get the opportunity to see the Sherman smoke in action. This is really patch 1.3 and 1.4 as well to a degree. Really was the peak of the Sherman plasma shield period of the game, which is quite abusive, but nonetheless quite exciting to watch. Sniper not doing a lot. He's being very conservative with the sniper, although this mortar is putting itself under a bit of pressure. He felt confident enough to go for the cap with those, but now it might be the case that if he retreats that, doesn't get it set up in time, might be another squad wipe. Oh, he does get it just outside the sight range of the sniper, and the sniper will go down. Big moment there. That's such a swing, you know, when a sniper goes down. An enormous swing. It could have been, you know, the 280 manpower of that mortar squad going down, and then, you know, keeping that 340 manpower of your own, but no, not to be. Now, the Sherman gets the upgrade with that heavy 50 cal machine gun on the top, and is now feeling confident enough to push straight into the middle, where ooh, going to get straight into a pack squad. Some grenadiers there as well. Just not yet upgraded with a Panzerstreak, but it is enough for now to push it away. We're seeing one of the problems now with the tier 2 of the Axis. The pack gun in the early builds of the game was just really, after that first cloaked shot, which did a little bit of extra damage, had a little bit of extra penetration, they're just pretty lackluster, to be honest. Not doing a great deal of damage, and although enough to kind of scare away and deter the Sherman for a little while, certainly not enough to kill it if there's any micro at all going on. Oh, more great work from the mortar. Oh, and the Panzerstreak gets a final shot off on that infantry squad. The riflemen do go down. Also now is kind of missing with its barrage, maybe trying to just sneak a little shot on that house there. But these grenadiers in heavy cover will do a pretty good job, I think, against these completely unupgraded riflemen as they slowly chip away. And as the mortar comes in, this is another low health squad. Got to be really, really careful. If the mortar shot does come in, Sherman comes in one more time, trying to do a bit of damage, but the pack squad, the pack does well there actually. That does a little more damage than I was expecting. Rifleman still hanging in there. Although one more mortar shot, if it gets even a slightly, you know, even close to a direct hit, could be, oh, there you go. It's another squad goes down. Just hanging on a little bit too long there. This pack gun still firing away, not at this point firing at the Sherman, but doing quite a bit of damage. We see now on just by looking at this right hand side that we have kind of a lack of units on the field now. A lot of units that are on the field are pretty low health as well. Not the best place in the world to be. That HMG has somehow got some extra range there, it feels like. Grenadiers almost threw a grenade in there, but in the end decided against it. Not a bad little shot. I mean, they're going to have to do some damage before the mortars manage to take it out. But getting in there, not able actually because of the heavy cover available here, not able to do the damage necessary. And then another squad going down. I think this is swinging back now in the way of towards Ahenian. Yep, there's an idle squad up here that really needs a little bit of health. A lot of resources in the bank as well. Banking up a little bit too much for my liking. I'd like to see that invested in either, you know, a couple of rifleman squads, or at least getting this one back up to full health. Looks like he may be banking to try and get a howitzer, which is not a bad idea given how entrenched the Axis are in the middle here. But there's been very little attempt to sort of harass around the side, which could have made all the difference. The Sherman now getting shot by the pack with the support of the Grenadiers there. He's chosen to do the off-map howitzer as he retreats the Sherman. Off-map howitzer. Oh, the first shot takes out 3 members of that. Grenadiers got the... Oh, the Grenadiers are so lucky to survive that. Although the pack gun goes down in a single shot there. Grenadiers are still playing with fire, trying to just wander away. Do manage to do it. Rifleman's flanking from the back here, trying desperately to take out. They will get the mortar squad. Oh, if that Grenadier squad goes down, it could be a really big swing. The MG decides to relocate, but is now going to be flanked by that Rifleman squad and may be forced to retreat. For the fatherland is popped by Ahenian, helping out a lot, and he is able, because there's a second bunker here, a repair bunker in fact. The second bunker here, so he is able to reinforce in that area. He will really be desperate to try and get that pack gun back on side. Riflemen are moving in here, but without bars, they just kind of lack that punch that's necessary, I think, to take out that Grenadier squad. Although the addition of a grenade in there could help a lot. Grenadiers respond with a grenade of their own. Another Rifleman squad coming in here with no MG42 support. This could be a little bit of a tricky situation. Pack gun not yet taken out. Sherman doing a lot of damage, trying to take out the bunker first and foremost. I would not have been using that as the main focus of my fire at all. Interesting decision there. He's throwing a lot of grenades now as well, and it means he doesn't have access to that off-map howitzer shoot that he so badly needs, particularly when back in the day when it was a little more expensive. But then another couple of grenades go in, and they do take out the Grenadier squad and leave the Panzerstreck on the floor. He's opted to take the pack first of all. Interesting choice that I would have gone straight in there and picked up that Panzerstreck as soon as possible. It helps us a great deal taking out these bunkers. We now see a couple more bodies being dropped off at the medic bunker, and it's just enough to get the Grenadiers out. So back in this kind of day, it didn't show you on the UI how close they were to getting an extra squad, but that's actually perfect timing. He's going to be able to save this pack. Oof, and possibly take out these 2 Rifleman squads unless they get out of there pretty sharpish. Oh, one Rifleman squad goes down. The second one, with veterancy and a Panzerstreck, needs to get out of there as quick as possible. Oh, he's gone for this house again, but isn't able to shoot out of this side of the building, so he won't be able to help here. Grenade goes in. Veterancy 2 Rifleman squad just clings on. Only 1 member there, not too much health left either. Oh, the Jeep comes in. The Jeep, I'm not sure, is going to be able to do a great deal on its own. LMG upgrade now, and this Grenadier squad will help a lot. And as we can see, it's all of these battles are taking place right next to this bunker. And all of the losses that, or a lot of the losses that Ahenian takes are being immediately replenished. He's able to reinforce while he's here. This Rifleman squad needs to get out of there, I think. Needs to get out of there. Oh, but we do see a Panther on the field. Moving on to Jeep. This is going to help out a great deal. In addition with those pack guns, he's lost his Panzerstreck, but he's going to have the opportunity to push away this Sherman pretty easily, I think, with that heavy armor. Oh, he's sticking around, trying to get the decap and get the cutoff here. Doesn't quite get it, and the squad goes down. I think that was overly aggressive there from Duwanii. That's a bit of a poor move, I think. I think this has kind of been a long engagement that's all taken place around this medic bunker. It looks like it's given Ahenian possibly as many as 2 Grenadier squads as well. Let's just switch to his perspective briefly here. We do have 2 Grenadier squads on the field. There's very few units on the field from both people. these two Shermans, although one has lost a little bit of health, are not going to be particularly confident against the Panther. I think that, you know, two Shermans, they will have a good chance of taking that on. But with the addition of a Pat gun now, that's going to swing things a little bit in favor of the Axis, I would think. But yeah, even so, two Shermans against one Panther, there's a little bit of Grenadier support, and maybe you're not sure if one of them's going to have a Panzerschreck sometime soon. Yeah, it's not going to be a comfortable engagement for you, that's for sure. Panther does move in, try and get a couple of shots off on this full health Sherman. The Efficiency 2 Sherman doesn't have the repair support that it needs to keep it at full health here. Oh, so it is going to, I think, want to be a little bit careful. Panther, in fact, decides to just back out of there, get a little bit of support from these Pat guns. We now see 2 Pat guns have been recrewed by Ahenian. You can see that here. And with 2 Pat guns, that's really going to make those Shermans pretty ineffective. They aren't able to move around comfortably. What's one thing interesting to see now is that I believe the line of sight that we can see all the way down here is all a, you know, part of the advantage of an enormous shot there from the Panther, doing a lot of damage to these Rangers. Perhaps they were a little bit more effective against Rangers than I'm remembering. So you also see another Panzerschreck on the floor up here. That could help out a lot if the Allies are able to get some infantry out and get that on side. But yeah, it looked like the Panthers had a little bit more punch against infantry than we're like used to seeing now. The Panzer Elite Panthers notwithstanding. MG42 now coming up to, oh, that's going to do a really good job in fortifying this area if it's going to be able to get it in this church. I'll be a little careful putting it in this house, knowing that my opponent's infantry company has access to that howitzer chute. Yeah. Looking pretty confident, I think, now, Ahenian. He's got a massive units. He's just building up into a bit of a more kind of punchy army that I think would be a little bit more comfortable, can survive. He still has an MG in this building here that I think perhaps he's even forgotten about. I mean, it's a nice spot, locking down this area and keeping both his medium munitions and observation posted fuel point under control. But now moving it forward with this second MG, he's got a good lock on the map, I think. Still a full pin on the south side with barbed wire. And we're going to have to see what Duwani's cooking up. Let's just switch to Duwani very quickly, see what he's cooking up to try and come out of this. It looks like he doesn't have a great deal on the field. Look, he's got a very low ranger squad here in the north.
Listen up, rifle squad.
One rifleman squad, a couple of Shermans, and a repairing squad here. Looks like he's prioritizing investing in a little bit more armor, getting this M10 on the field. Looks like he's hopefully going to try and he wants to use that to take out and flank the Panther. It's a nice option, and Pat guns are, I think, very effective against M10s, but they don't feel quite so. M10s don't feel quite so flimsy to the Pat guns, at least in these early builds, as they do today. And the Panzerschrecks were so ineffective and so inaccurate in these early builds that you wouldn't be too scared. Oh, but that immediately runs out. After all that time getting healed, immediately runs out and takes a pretty poor engagement. Takes a couple of pack shots. I kind of feel like he needs a little bit more indirect fire to kind of try and slowly chip away at the Axis forces and slowly build his way back into the game. Whether that's a howitzer, he's got so much fuel, he could absolutely afford a howitzer. An on-map howitzer, or whether that's in the form of even just a mortar if he wants to do it a bit more cheaply. We saw the damage that Ahenian's mortar did earlier in the game. That's one thing actually that Cepha used to say a lot, is that Company of Heroes offers you, there's a bit of a comeback mechanic in the form of indirect fire, and a lot of, wow, look at that shot there. Sherman taking out an entire pack gun, blowing up the gun and its full squad in one hit. Now it's up to efficiency 3. If he's able to keep that on the field and healed up, that could really help in any big future engagements. Yeah, Cepha used to say that indirect fire and the presence of indirect fire helped you to come back, because in other games like Age of Empires or even StarCraft to a degree, if you find yourself falling behind in army, if your opponent is able to force fights, you really don't have any opportunity at all to get to do damage to the opponent. You can't really take engagements whatsoever if you fall behind into kind of raw army numbers. But that isn't the case in Company of Heroes because of the presence of indirect fire. That Sherman moving in there, I think, is going to want to get out of there, and he decides to use the off-map power to shoot. That bunker may go down, although it'll depend a great deal on kind of a bit of luck. I think it may be destined to survive because of having that extra health thanks to Defensive Doctrine. Yep, looks like it will just about survive. But here in the north we see the LMG on this Grenadier squad has been able to sort of sustain the suppression that was applied by the MG from that bunker a little bit earlier. Looks like that squad will go down though. Does it drop its Panzer Strike? Doesn't look like it. Then said that these squads need to get out of there. The Panther looking confident again. That triple veterancy Sherman moves forward and is now being chased down by the Panther. Oh, this is going to be such a shame if we see this go down. He really needs to get that out of there somehow. Panther, a little bit worried about revealing its rear armor, but we do see the Sherman smoke popped on the Sherman, but the Panther manages to find an accurate shot through the smoke, which, as we'll discover in future episodes, is a very rare occurrence. The second Sherman forced to get out of there while another M10 is now coming from the Allies' base. I think that it's really in a situation now where Duwanii has such a smaller army that he's going to have to sort of back out of there and rely on indirect fire if he wants to get back into this. Looks like it may not be possible at this stage. The Panther still has a relatively high health and is adequately backed up by pack guns and grenadiers. Looks like he's going for the flank, trying to use the speed of that M10, but the Panther is a very quick tank in its own right, especially given its size, and it does get the shots off that are necessary. Damages the engine, gets a nice deflection, and now the tank destroyer goes down. Panther now taking on this Sherman. I'm sure Ahenian's moving up a pack gun to support. Oh, in fact, he has a second Panther on the field, and this Sherman now is really on the wrong side of town, trying to use this house to sort of hide behind and make sure it's going to avoid the fire of the Panther. Now it looks like it's going to try and make a break for it. Used its speed to try and fire down that road, or in fact going around for the flank on this Panther. I think that is a poor decision, and much as I admire the fighting spirit of the Allied Sherman, that is not an engagement that I think was going to go well for it in any situation, in any universe whatsoever. A few units now moving out to the field without having been reinforced. We see another Ranger squad coming out to support them. A little bit of desperation showing here from Duwanii, I think. And one thing you could say is that this has been a relatively defensive game, so he does still have plenty of VPs left in the bank and could have used a bit of indirect fire, fortified his base, and kind of taken it slow to get back into the game before his victory points to count down to 0, but it looks like he's gone instead. He's gone a little bit more aggressive, moving out with these 3 very low health squads straight into the Panthers, and I think 1 or 2 shots here. Oi, moving into the kill zone. Gets a sticky off on Ahenian, but now quickly goes down. Damaged engine. This Ranger is desperate to take out this Panther, so he gets around behind it with his bazooka. Second Ranger squad coming forward. I think maybe this is Duwanii's last chance saloon here. Trying to just lose the game with a little bit of dignity by taking out this Panther. Although with the accuracy of that bazooka's anything to go by, it might not be that simple. Panther showing remarkable accuracy at low range. Panzer Strikes firing from the house over there. Also doing damage. Another, looked like a penetration, but doing just tickling damage really. And I think that will be... we're not long from seeing the end of this match now. Another desperate attempt. Duwanii now with 0, and we do see the GG, and in fact we see the GG in game. So that looks like they implemented in-game chat to the replay system too. Well, I think that was a pretty short and not particularly close game. I think that Duwanii had a couple of nice engagements very early on, but Ahenian kind of showed his class as the game went on, and this long engagement next to the medic bunker really gave him the extra couple of squads that he needed to take the lead in the game, and the superior micro with the tanks late game and the better use of combined forces really just kind of escalated, and it was a slippery slope from there. Yep, so not the closest replay or not the most exciting match, I don't think, compared to some of the other ones we've seen, but I hope you've enjoyed seeing what 1.3 brought to the game in the form of those strange sniper battles that didn't quite take each other out. Yeah, I think not a bad one to look for at 1.3, and we'll look at a couple more exciting replays from this patch before we move on to 1.4. Because of the bugs this patch implemented, we'll only do a couple of replays, I think, before we move on to 1.4, and we'll kind of run through these a little bit more quickly than 1.2. But I hope you've enjoyed this episode, and do join in again next time. Thanks.